Hey everybody, Vampyre1444 here again, and today I am going to do my top 20 vampire films. Now, as I said before, with the zombie film list I did, this is just my personal opinion. So some people will say, "Oh, what's that doing there? And why isn't this there?" But again, yes, this is just my humble little opinion of the films that I really like. So, yep, without further ado, let's begin. Right, now first off, it isn't just one film, it's an entire series of films, and that is the Subspecies collection. They're all interconnected, and there's like, 5 films, and I've liked these for a long time because I really like the main vampire, Radu. The way he looks, the special effects aren't great, but quite atmospheric. Really good selection of films. Like I say, they're all interlinked. Vampire Journals is a little bit different, but which is the last film in the series. But it's still kind of linked because of the master vampire called Ash. But yeah, they're all, like I say, they're all really good, well done. Locations are great because I believe that all of them were filmed in like Romania and Bucharest, places like that. So the locations are really good, the acting's good, special effects are quite good, apart from I think the first one with the little creatures. You could, but there's more like start animation. But yeah, really good series of films. And that's number 20. Number 19, we have Frostbite, which is Sweden's first ever vampire film, I believe. It's a bit of a comedy, but again, it's well done, well acted, some really good laughs. It's about a mother and daughter who move to Lapland, obviously in Sweden, and something happens and there's vampires about, and she makes friends with a group of kids and they all start turning into vampires. But like I say, a really good film from Sweden. Like I say, good acting, some good blood effects, and some really good comedy parts in it. It's a nice little film. 18 is the classic Near Dark. This is a great film about a lad who fancies this lass, not realising she's a vampire, and she accidentally bites him. And she belongs to a gang led by Lance Hendrickson. And you've got Bill Paxton in there, Jeanette Goldstein, and they're basically trying to get him to kill somebody, because once he's killed somebody he becomes a proper vampire. But he's trying to resist doing that, because he doesn't want to become a vampire, but he's in love with her, and he's being trying to be pressured into do it, but he's a good guy, so he doesn't do it. But it's a really, really good film. Some good little comedy moments in it, even though it's not a comedy. Some really good special effects, and yeah, it's a good classic film. Number 16 is Kronos, which is a really, really good film. It's not exactly what you'd be expecting as a vampire film, because the vampire is actually a little device. Where is it? There it is there. A little mechanical device that sucks on blood. And it's by Guillermo del Toro. And it's a really good little Spanish or Mexican. Is it Spanish or Mexican? Spanish or Mexican, one of the two. But it's a really good different take on the vampire. Well worth it if you haven't seen it. Really, really good. And what's that? 2019, 17. Number 16, we have Vamp. Classic 80s vampire film. As soon as you see it, you know it's an 80s film by the way they dress and all that. About two college lads who attempt to hire a stripper for a college party. So they go to a strip joint, not realising that it's full of vampires. And it's about them trying to get out, well, trying to escape the little area of the town they're in, which is a no-go type of a no-go area. There's vampires everywhere, and there's street gangs. But a really, really good comedy film, well acted, with Grace Jones in it as the lead vampire. Yeah, really good. Next, we have the classic 1931 version of Dracula with Bela Lugosi. I haven't got it on its own, I've only got it in this big box set, the Monsters Essential Collection. And of course it's an iconic film with Bela Lugosi as Dracula, with the top hat and tails, and his really thick accent made him probably one of the best Draculas ever. The original Dracula, everybody calls him. It's just a really good film, well made, well acted. Obviously with it being 1931 there's no blood and guts and all that, but still that takes nothing away from the film. It is an absolute masterpiece. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, if you're not into the old films you probably won't like it, but yeah, it's just an absolute brilliant film, well worth the watch. Now the next one, I think some people twist their faces at, but at the end of the day it's my list and I like it, and I think it's absolutely great, and that is Dracula AD 1972, and it's basically Dracula gets risen from the grave yet again by hippies, by Johnny Alucard, who wants to become a vampire. And it's just really weird to see Dracula in an age where there's hippies, and just watching the way they go on and everything. And Peter Cushing as Van Helsing, Stephanie Beacham as his, I think it's his granddaughter. And yeah, it's just a really fun vampire film. Obviously not the best of the Hammer films, but I like it. I think it's a really good laugh, right from the opening titles of Van Helsing and Dracula fighting back in the Victorian days, to the camera panning up into the sky, and then a big jumbo jet comes flying over. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun movie. The same with the next one, which is John Carpenter's Vampires. I just really, really love this. James Woods is excellent as Jack Crow. There's plenty of action in it. There's blood and guts in it. The main vampire, who's called Valak, is really good, and it's a really excellent film. And pretty much James Woods is the only character who can get away with fighting a big master vampire and asking him whether he still, after all these years, whether he still gets wood or not. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's really well worth the price and all that. It's a brilliant film. And I'll just shift these out of the way. Next up, we have Hammer's Countess Dracula with Ingrid Pitt. And again, I've loved this for a long, long time. It's basically about the real life story of Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who was a countess in the 16th century who allegedly bathed in the blood of virgins, thinking that it'll make her young again, and obviously in this film it does. And she's constantly killing young girls to constantly make her young and beautiful. And it's a really good film, well done, well acted. Ingrid Pitt, Nigel Green are in it, Leslie Ann Down, and yeah, it's just a really fun Hammer film to watch. Next up, the original Fright Night with Chris Sarandon, Roddy McDowall. Yeah, again, classic 80s vampire film about a young lad, and his new next door neighbour turns out to be a vampire, and he's trying to battle against it, and he recruits the help of a horror film star, which is Roddy McDowall, and who reluctantly joins him eventually, and it's about them fighting it's Jerry Dandridge, played by Chris Sarandon, and yeah, it's a fun, really good 80s vampire film, a bit of a classic. And they did a sequel, and obviously they've done the remake with what do you call him? Oh crap, I've forgotten his name. There you go, it's so well that I've even forgot the guy's name. But never mind, they did a remake, and it wasn't too bad, it wasn't great. Colin Farrell, that's it, Colin Farrell. Yeah, but no, the original is far superior to the remake, as most originals are. But yeah, excellent film. Next up is the original Salem's Lot. Now this is just an awesome TV movie. This goes on for 184 minutes. David Soul was in it, and James Mason. And the vampire is really cool, Nosferatu type vampire. And obviously it's directed by Toby Hooper. It's a bit long, depending on which version you got, because I've heard there's a couple of different versions, different lengths. But this is just a really well done film, written by Stephen King, I believe it is. Yeah, Stephen King. And yeah, it's an excellent film. They've done a remake with Rob Lowe, and that's really good as well. And there's also a follow-on to this called Return to Salem's Lot, which I haven't got on DVD, but I've still got it on VHS somewhere. But yeah, well worth checking it out. It's a really good film. Next up is Let the Right One In. This is brilliant. I really underestimated this film when I got it. I didn't think it would be that good, but I think it's a Swedish film. But yeah, the acting is great, especially considering it's two young little kids. She's the vampire. She acts really well as a vampire, considering she's supposed to be, I assume, like nearly 100 years old or something, and she befriends the little lad who's a bit of a loner, and the two of them become really close friends, and she protects them, and he protects her as well. And it's just a really excellent film. You've got to watch it because it's just so well done. Like I say, the acting, where it's set in the winter in Sweden. There's plenty of blood in it if you're into the blood and guts. Yeah, and it's just an awesome film. Yep, great film. And the next one is The Night Flyer. Another really excellent film. Again from the 80s, I believe. Stars Miguel Ferreira. That's in there. And he's a reporter, and he finds evidence of there's a plane going from like one small little rural airport to another, and people are dying, and he goes after it, believing it's a vampire, which it is. And then it's basically like nothing will stop him from getting the story. Sorry about the light here, but the sun's moving about with the clouds, and it's throwing the light off. But it's a really, really well done film. Stephen King again, I believe. Yep. Yep, well worth checking it out. Really good. And the next one, which is number 7 on my list, I think it is Interview with the Vampire. Just try and change the light there. Now this is an excellent film based on Anne Rice novels. Oh, obviously I think everybody's heard of this. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Christian Slater. It's a really, really excellent film. When I first heard it was being made and Tom Cruise was going to be in it, I was kind of like, oh no, not Tom Cruise, you know. But I've got to admit, this is probably my favourite Tom Cruise film. He acts really, really well in it, and it's just a beautifully made film. Like I say, based on the Anne Rice novels. And yeah, I've got to get this on Blu-ray. It's just a really, really brilliant film. Now, next on the list, which is number 6, is Shadow of the Vampire. John Malkovich and William Dafoe and Eddie Izzard. Now this is just an awesome film, absolutely awesome. William Dafoe is brilliant as the Nosferatu vampire, Max Schreck. And the way they've done it, it's based on the 1922 film Nosferatu, but in this they've made it so that Max Schreck is actually a vampire living in the castle, and William Dafoe makes a deal with the vampire. If he stars in the movie, he'll let the vampire bite what you called the leading lady, which I forget what her name is, Catherine McCormick. Yeah, if he makes a film, he'll let her bite her because he quite fancies her. And yes, it's just a brilliant film, well made, great locations, great acting. Yeah, it's just a really awesome film. As is the next one, the classic Life Force, the science fiction vampire film by Tobe Hooper. And I've loved this for ages. As soon as it came out on DVD, I grabbed it, and then obviously as soon as it came out on Blu-ray, I managed to get the steel tin. It's about the space shuttle crew who find that Halley's Comet, there's an alien spacecraft trailing behind it, and it's crewed by vampires. There's like 3 of them, and they bring them to Earth, and the main vampire in it starts sucking people's life force out of them, turning them into kind of like zombies. And it's basically about the hunt to stop her and stop the infection that she's spreading. And again, it's a brilliant film. Patrick Stewart's in it, which is always a good thing because he's always a good laugh. Yes, it's just a really excellent 80s film. Science fiction vampire film. Yeah, really good. As is this is probably the most iconic 80s vampire film ever, and that's The Lost Boys. This is the trilogy, but it's the first Lost Boys film I'm talking about. The second and third are okay, but the first one is absolutely brilliant. It's Jason Patric, Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Haim, and the other Haim lad. I forget what you call him at the moment. It's about a family who moved to a small coastal town, unaware that it's the vampire capital of the world. And Jason Patric character falls in love with a lass, and she's a vampire. And he gets turned into a vampire. Well, partly he's got to kill somebody before he becomes a vampire. Kiefer Sutherland's the leader of the vampire punk gang. He got the Frog Brothers, which is like I forget one of the Haim lads. I forget what you call them. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun film. Classic 80s. You can't. I think this will be in everybody's list because it's just so good. Number 3 in my list is Nosferatu, the Symphony of Terror, made in 1922, the silent film with Max Schreck. Just probably one of the most iconic vampires ever, with the way he looks, the bald head, the bat-like ears, the 2 front canine teeth close together. Yeah, it's just for its time, it's just a really, really well-made film. Borrows heavily on the German expressionism. There's a lot of shadows. When you see the vampire, you see the way they do it. It's really good, really well made. Like I say, with the shadows walking along the walls. Yeah, it's just one of the best vampire films ever made. And considering it was made in 1922, and it's still considered one of the best, it tells you something about it. Yeah, it's just a really, really excellent film. Now, number 2, some people probably haven't heard of it, and those that have will probably say, what the hell is he talking about? But I don't care. I've loved this film since I was a little kid. Seen it in the 80s. It's a Hong Kong film, and that is Mr. Vampire. It's just a really fun film. It's a comedy. It's got this is the first film Chinese one where I saw that the Chinese vampires actually hop, which is always great to see. It's about a guy who runs like a morgue, and he's got two young apprentices who are idiots. One falls in love with a ghost, and the other one gets bitten by a vampire. And it's just a wacky, crazy film with good acting, good martial arts fight scenes, like I say, comedy in it, action in it. It's just a brilliant film. It's from the early 80s, I believe. I think it's like 81, 82, something. No, sorry, about 85, something like that. And it's just, to me, it's just a brilliant, fun vampire film. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. So yeah, that's at my number 2. And my number 1 is Hammer's original Dracula. And this is just an absolutely brilliant film. Christopher Lee as the iconic Dracula, and Peter Cushing as Van Helsing. And it's just a beautifully made film, great acting, they took the time with it, lots of deep red blood in it, good fight scenes, Peter Cushing, like I say, as Van Helsing, jumping over tables, grabbing onto big heavy curtains to bring them down. And Christopher Lee is, as always, Dracula. He's just brilliant and really masterful in it, the way he looks, the way he acts, and yeah, it's just an all-round brilliant film. And that is my number 1 best film ever. Sorry, best vampire film ever. 1957's Hammer Dracula film. So, there you go. Please leave your comments, tell us what you think, whether you agree with us or not. But like I say, it's my personal opinion. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. And I shall see you shortly when I do another video. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you later.